Hello and welcome. We are with Mr. Amar Babu, MD of Lenovo India. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
What are the key challenges that a business faces in the current environment?
So I think the biggest challenge that I see is there's just so much of explosion of data and devices. And this is really creating a lot of opportunities as well as challenges for organizations because it's questioning some of the traditional business models. It's questioning traditional interfaces that one has with customers, business partners, and how in this environment where do you invest? Specifically again around the economy, because when you want to invest in newer business models and newer areas, you also need to see is there going to be the right ROI. So I think the combination of this is what I believe is creating this nice challenge of how much of investment, where to invest, but clearly there is a big opportunity.
ROI versus risk. Where is the balance? Where does a company like yours find the right balance?
See, there's always been the statement that you invest ahead of the curve to try and build your business. I believe that the time period when people were talking about investing ahead of the curve has since become history. I think you should have to invest with the curve. Because of the variations that are there in the economy, I think that it's very challenging to take a call and take a big risk. Some risk, some leap of faith is definitely needed, but I believe that it's more pertinent today to invest with the curve. Investments, I believe, are needed. In a country like ours, clearly we will see growth, and given the recent changes we are seeing, very positive changes, I do believe there will be growth. So there will be some opportunities, but I would be a little cautious and say that one should invest with the curve rather than getting too much ahead of the curve.
Okay, a lot of people believe that, the biggest challenge or the biggest risk that companies face right now is keeping pace with technology. How disruptive is technology as far as
from a technology company, I really don't like it when customers say that you're being too disruptive. We would like to be a little more predictable and stable. But that's the reality. The technology industry is driven by innovation. And as a technology company, we are as good or as successful as our products. So we also continue to innovate, continue to drive technology. So for a company like us, like Lenovo, we just completed the acquisition of the IBM x86 server business and the Motorola mobility business. So two very wide ends of the spectrum. And the whole reason is that we want to innovate across the spectrum. So it's not just point innovation in each of the stages of technology, but also the way things operate. So when you look at this trends in mobility, the plethora of devices, this whole thing about cloud, where there is a lot of data and a lot of computing power residing outside your ecosystem, this whole thing, the explosion of data that is linked to all of this, and of course this whole concept of Internet of Everything, things and so on. So you combine all of it together, obviously it is creating a very disruptive technology environment. But I think there's a lot of opportunity, and that's where some companies who've been able to take advantage of that opportunity have been able to show substantial growth, substantial improvements in productivity, substantially new markets, new business models. So I think there's definitely an opportunity in the disruption of technology, because the technologies are disruptive because they give you an advantage. For example, the whole thing about social media. It today allows companies to talk directly to their customers without any intermediaries in between. Now, you could take that as a big opportunity, and obviously it will also be a challenge because suddenly all customers can talk directly back to the company and one has to listen to them. So it's also a challenge as well. And is there a choice of not participating? I don't think so. I think every organization that wants to be successful has to be in it. And I guess that's precisely the disruptive nature.
So what are the sectors that you think that could really use big data and analytics in a more focused and in a more productive manner?
I would say almost every sector.
Okay.
Because broadly, there are companies who are B2B or there are companies that are B2C. The moment you say B2C, this whole explosion of devices, social media, breaking down of walls, talks to you about mass customization. I'll give you an example. There is, in our industry, there is a company, traditionally in the smartphone business, you tend to get software updates once to 3 months. There is a particular company which has created a user community which actually allows them to get feedback, and they release updates every week. Needless to say, that companies become very, very successful, right? So they have, this is within the technology industry itself. So I think it's about the companies innovative, and innovation is not all about products. It's also about innovation in business models, innovations in usage of technology. So to me, B2C, there is absolutely very clear, transparent, that there is a huge opportunity. And analytics, data, this whole thing of mass customization today is a reality. On the other side, when you look at B2B, I think this whole thing of Internet of Things is allowing a huge advantage in being able to communicate between businesses in a very wide way. For example, let me take, when we buy, let's say, a projector in the office, right? Today, the firmware of that projector can be updated using technology, using the internet. And so you really don't need a new projector to upgrade your technology. You could actually, within that, if there is some new features that you want to enable, there's a lot more software into it. You can update it over the wireless, and there you go, a far better projector. So the ability to do that in both the B2B and B2C businesses exists. So I think that it's something a little more pervasive than just for specific sectors. That's why I said, is there an option for somebody to say, oh, that's for some other industry, not for me? I really don't think so.
Okay. Smartphones, tablets, phablets. What is the product of the future?
All. I know it's a very safe answer, but I truly believe that all. There was a time when people said the PC will die,
right.
Okay? Lenovo was one of the few companies that kept saying no, absolutely not, because we believe that these devices, each device has its own role to play. And today, when I was at the conference, I asked the CFOs, how many of you had smartphones? Obviously, every hand went up. I asked, how many of you had tablets? Every hand went up. I said, how many of you had PCs? Every hand went up, right? And why do they need 3 devices? They need it because they use a different device to access data at different points of time in different ways. So if you're in the office, you would use a PC because you're doing serious work, and you want to also create data. If you're on the road, you might use a smartphone. If you're sitting maybe in a flight, you might use a tablet. So I believe that these devices will coexist, and the different debate between phablets and tablets is basically a definition of screen size.
Right.
So people would look at different screen sizes. But I think this is also creating an opportunity because suddenly you're much more productive. I mean, what do people do when they get up in the morning? They see their emails. So suddenly, if somebody, instead of starting their work at 9, starting their work at 7. So it's obviously driving different challenges, but needless to say, I think it's driving a huge amount of productivity. So I would actually think that all these devices would coexist. They would morph, they would change, they would become more powerful, but yeah, it would coexist in different ways. Okay.
Finally, what is your call on the rupee, inflation, interest rates and growth rates in India?
We are all great masters at rear view mirrors, right? So in the environment that we are in, it's very easy to answer that the rupee will be stable, the inflation will be going down, the economy will be up. If somebody had asked me the same questions 9 months ago, I would have given exactly opposite answers. So I think that that's always the nature, right? One can never be a forecaster or an astrologer on this. But as a company, we have seen customer confidence come back.
Okay.
And for us, again, as I said, when you bring in new products, new technology, we just launched a new tablet. It's a nice 13-inch tablet with a built-in projector. And it can project up to a 50-inch screen on the wall. It's a great entertainment device in the home because it also has a speaker. Now, for those kinds of innovation, there are always customers, there's always business. So for us, you give a little different perspective. But overall, we definitely are much more positive about the economy at this stage, much more positive about the future than maybe we were a year ago. So
but CapEx has still not come back in a big way?
I will see. I think it will come back. I mean, I think definitely will come back because as consumer sentiment improves and the markets and customers start buying more, clearly you will see that then companies would start investing to create additional capacity or new. And I hope that they invest in technology because some of these are disruptive technologies, and they would have to invest in technology to also keep pace with some of the new opportunities.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Pleasure. Thank you very much.